Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my analysis of the trailer to My Little Pony: A New Generation. Unfortunately, there was so much to analyze here that the first time I recorded this, it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, so I decided to try to do this again, and hopefully this time it'll work out a little bit better. Parts of me are almost debating, should I do like a separate video on like the state of Equestria, because definitely the trailer shows one thing, is that the world of Equestria is very different from when we left it in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. So now let's start off with a nice picture of a lighthouse. I like it. It's cool. I must say, if I was a character in the show, I would totally live here. But anyway, so yeah, it's an interesting location. I mean, it's certainly way different from Ponyville, I'll tell you that much. It's like we got the seashore and all that, so, but anyway, on to the more important things. Once upon a time, dear, Earth ponies, unicorns, and Pegasi lived in harmony. Sadly, now they don't. No, the main six will be devastated. Speaking of which, they're sitting right there on the table. More precisely, the toy versions of them are, so I think this is actually a pretty good scene, to be honest. You know, it introduces to people who've never seen the show before, you know, what the big problem is. Even after all this time, I still don't know, is it species, tribes? I don't know what it is, but let's just say it's tribes. You know, the three tribes, they used to get along. Now they don't, so... You know, the more I look at these pictures, the more interesting things that I find. Like, the stained glass is kind of interesting. I mean, it's just stained glass. I mean, it probably doesn't show anything, but, you know, I'm sure if I look at this a little bit closely, it might show something. But yeah, definitely take note of these pictures that she's drawn on the back wall, because, yeah, they'll be important, I think, in a second. So, aw, and Sunny's just so cute as a kid. Speaking of which, it's like, why can't we be friends anymore, Dad? Aw, poor girl. That would be devastating. Someday, dear, maybe we'll figure it out. Aww. But at least it's making her daughter feel good. So why this is especially sad is that now that if you look at those pictures on the back wall, you'll notice that one of them is a unicorn. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Izzy. I mean, the second picture, you know, kind of like above where her head is, it kind of looks like Izzy, but her hair isn't the right color. I mean, the colors are kind of off. But that picture where, like, in the trees over there, it's like, I think that's supposed to be Izzy. And that, I think, is definitely very important later on. It's a nice little scene with Dad. It's probably going to be one of the first scenes in the movie, so... Yeah. I mean, it makes me really sad to think that, you know, all these friends are no longer friends. I think the long story short is... something pretty bad has had to have happened, and I don't know what, but I'm gonna take the DigiBrony approach in that they're gonna tell us, so... I know I will be tempted to guess what that might be later on, but yeah, it's like, yeah, they're gonna tell us, so... Anyway, moving on. It's, early morning. Oh, dear. And, you know, the main six. And also, an alarm clock, which is kind of telling in itself because it shows technology. But again, more on that later. I think that's the most interesting thing about this particular screenshot is, yeah, it's the main six. Or again, it's their toys over in the corner, and I like that. Hasbro has not only inserted the old characters from the original show, they've also inserted their own toys into the show, so I thought that was good, so... roar! And... I think that shows that Sunny definitely has an interest in, you know, the main six. Perhaps not as much when she was a kid, because these toys have moved from, like, her bedside table to over to, like, that shelf over there. But, which is kind of understandable, you know, it's sort of like, you know, yeah, you might love this toy or this doll, whatever you had from a kid, but you're not gonna always keep it right next to your bedside table, you're gonna move on. And it made room for the alarm clock. Anyway, on to the next image. Aw, I mean, I just like this image, because it's like, aw, it's Sunny and her dad. And now, Sunny herself is like, ooh, a rollerblading pony. Roar! Yes, I like that a lot, I like that a lot. And I have no idea why. It's like, yes, rollerblade Tempest 90s. Roar! Yes, being a rollerblader, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. It does make sense for ponies, to be honest. It's like, you know what? Ponies are already kind of fast, but, you know, putting something like rollerblades on their feet would make them go even faster, so that's great. So, roar. I now have this vision of some poor horse in rollerblades. I imagine this to be a very unhappy horse. Anyway, but I thought that was cool. It's like, yeah, I like that, I like that. And this is actually the first time we get to see her cutie mark. It's kind of reminiscent of Starlight Glimmers. I mean, I wonder if that means if she's somehow related to her, but Cutie marks kind of don't really work that way. I mean, they can, like the apples are kind of all like apple related, but this doesn't necessarily mean that she's related to her, but it would be interesting to see if she was. From what I've seen from this trailer, I think the short I like Sunny. She's cool. I like her. So anyway, let's move on to the next image, which is her still skating, but I'll get a decent look of this town, is like, which we learn later is called Maritime Bay. Cunning, I like it. The pony puns are back. Roar! Yes. You know, in some ways, it's kind of reminiscent of Ponyville. I was thinking, it even has this big giant building in the back, which sort of looks like a castle, but I know it's not. I mean, I have no idea what kind of building that is. It's just this big, huge building with... It almost looks like it's unfinished. It's just like... It feels like there should be, like, more stories around that building or something, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, it looks like a basic, you know, kind of seaside kind of town, you know. All I'm gonna say is, take note of the height of those cliffs. So anyway, I'd love to live here. It'd be great. But unfortunately, upon arriving in town, Sunny finds a scary surprise. Hi, new friend. But I don't think she feels too choked up about it, so... But before we get on to that, I have to take note of that bag. It's Twilight Sparkle's Cutie Mark, and we can see Rainbow Dashes and Fluttershy's Cutie Mark are on those buttons. So... And that indicates two things. The main 6 characters in some ways are not going away. The other is Sunny is obviously interested or knows about the main 6 and is almost like a fan of them. She's literally wearing their cutie marks on her bag and her clothes that she's wearing around with her all the time. You don't do that unless this means something to you. It's been an interesting question of how much from the original show should they do. Like, should they distance themselves from the show, or should they somehow integrate with the original show? This is clearly in the same universe as Friendship is Magic, but I think the long story short is a lot of time has passed. It's even a quick question, are the main 6 even here? So like the main 6's legacy, if you will, you know, how much is it going to impact the show is uncertain, but an interesting question, and definitely looking forward to seeing what happens. The legacy, the lessons that the main 6 have learned, maybe they'll be passed on through Sunny. Maybe the Journal of Friendship is in her bag. We shall see. But anyway, now moving on to some ways the more direct thing in this trailer is, oh my gosh, who is that? Hi, new friend. It's Izzy. Yay! I love this picture, and it's very telling. You know, every other pony is running for the hills. She's standing there being like, oh, it's Izzy. Roar! I mean, yeah, it's like it's my old friend. That's what I think that this reveals, is that yes, Sunny and Izzy were friends. Whatever events caused the 3 tribes to basically no longer be friends with each other, which I think the long story is, I don't think that happened overnight, but there was a point where it's like, I'm so sorry, dear, but you can't be friends with Izzy anymore, and maybe someday we'll figure out how we can fix this, but I'm sorry. That would be so tragic for a little kid, you know, to basically, you know, I can't be friends with this person anymore. Why not, Dad? And that explains why she's asking her dad that at the very beginning of this trailer. It could also be possible that maybe she's just been interested in unicorns and she hasn't seen one in a while, and it's like, look, it's a unicorn. Or it's possible that maybe Sunny was friends with a different unicorn. Unicorns are cool. I like them. They were my friends. And maybe she had to say goodbye to that friend. And now that she's seeing, look, it's a unicorn. This is just so cool. I thought I'd never see a unicorn again. There's parts of me that want to lean more towards that, yeah, they were friends, and now this is like the first time they've seen each other in years, maybe decades for all I know, but I like that angle a lot better, but we shall see. But the one thing I know for sure is that Sunny is happy to be seeing this unicorn because all the other ponies are going, ah, unicorn attack! Run! And again, in this picture, it really shows that. It's like, really, every other pony is turning to run away, and they're like, hi there! It's like, oh my gosh, it's a unicorn! Oh, it's Izzy, I missed you! Aww. So yeah, I want to go briefly back to this picture, even though they're screaming. I didn't notice it at first, but the pony that's behind Hitch actually has that star on his shoulder, if that's what you want to call it that, but yeah, let's just call it his shoulder. The same one that he does, which I think is kind of telling. I think that both of these ponies are basically like police officers. I mean, frankly, I don't really know how police officer stuff works. I mean, does like silver just like, okay, you're a police officer, and then gold means you're like the sergeant? I don't think it works that way. So I think this indicates that Hitch is basically a police officer. Moving on to this scene, which kind of makes me laugh, but also makes me kind of sad, because it's like, oh no, it's a unicorn! The dark side of me always wants to think, this poor pony decided to drown himself rather than face this unicorn. Oh, that's terrible. I know that her voice is a little high-pitched and she has all these crazy magic powers, but she's not that bad. It's like the other thing. It's like, yeah, unicorn attack. It's like, what? I know that all these magic powers that we have kind of make you scared of us, but we're not that bad. It does make me sad that all these ponies are basically just running for the sheer fact that she's a unicorn. But at the same time, I could understand this because unicorns have all these crazy magic powers which make them very threatening. And if you were an earth pony and you basically don't have those magic powers because only magic can defeat magic, I could see you being like, ah. And a good question to ask is, how come the Wendigos aren't here? In Heartwarming Eve, Twilight / Clover the Clever says that, the Wendigos feed off hatred and fighting. So they don't feed off not being friends. That's why the Wendigos are here, because they feed on something completely different. They feed on actual ponies, like actually fighting each other, like, no, you stupid unicorn, I hate you, yeah! No, that's not what's happening here. It's like, no, run for your lives, it's a unicorn! Ah! And going briefly back to this pony, do I really think he's jumped to his doom? No. Even from this angle, this looks like that's on the top of one of those really high cliffs that if you jumped from would not end well for you. Do I think that's what's happened? No. It's a kid's show, they're not gonna do that. Like, that's why they had to put the water splash in to show that he may have jumped into the ocean, but he's okay. Jumping into the ocean was less scary than facing this unicorn. But then again, if you really thought that this unicorn was here to hurt you, obviously that's understandable. So anyway, moving on. Had a good shot of Hitch. It's like, this was a great scene. I loved it. It's like, your son is safe, ma'am. You may now cheer. Oh, by the way, this is from the character introduction trailer, but is really revealing of his character. Anyway, but this isn't my kid. You're welcome. I must say that I love Hitch. I love him. He's great. I must admit, unfortunately, if Blue Star was a real character, I think he would basically take on the same role that Hitch will probably take on. It's like, don't worry, I will save you. But having said that, I'm very pleased that all the characters in the show are more than capable of taking care of themselves. So, roar! We don't really get to see the star that's on his chest from most of these angles. And like, it kind of drives me crazy, to be honest. Parts of me think that it really should be like kind of like around his neck, or maybe like the Royal Guard armor where it should be on like his chest. But maybe this is like a real world police thing, and that the badge is like over here, and it's, I don't know. I haven't studied police uniforms, so I don't really know. But yeah, it does seem strange. It's like, also that their cutie marks are only on, I think it's their right side, which is kind of disappointing to me. I kind of liked it on both sides. It kind of made sense, but I guess, for the manufacturing purposes, it's easier to print it on just one side. Oh, well. But before we move on, there's one more thing that I want to take note of, and that's that poster that's on the wall in the background is like, very scary. This almost feels like a quote-unquote propaganda poster. It's depicting a Pegasus in a very scary, threatening kind of way, and this poor little Earth pony is like, oh no, it's a Pegasus. Oh. Well, at least this indicates the Earth ponies aren't just scared of unicorns, they're scared of every pony. Which is probably the case across the board. Yeah, this trailer makes me sad. It's basically the short answer, but also optimistic that, you know what, the main five will save us. Upon reuniting with her friend, or perhaps encountering a new unicorn in the first time in years, let's run back to the lighthouse. Roar! Again, I like it. I'd like to live here. And upon entering the house, unfortunately Sunny learns, you don't have any magic? We did have it, but then it just went poof. Wow. That is incredibly bad. Did Kojiko break out and, succeed in stealing all the magic from Equestria? Oh no! But before that, there's one last little thing. It's like noticing, Sunny's like belt sash thing. Yeah, it is actually kind of interesting to see, like how do ponies like wear bags and stuff, but they don't technically have shoulders per se. So yeah, they had to do like this sort of like around the neck and the body thing. Oh, sorry, that was the engineer in me just you know, being interested in, you know, how this is different from ours. So the thing I wanted to take note here, sort of see Rainbow Dash's, Fluttershy's, and also Twilight Sparkle's button on her, like, bag thing. And interesting. I was kind of expecting to have all of them. Maybe it's on the other side. Maybe those are, like, her favorite of the main 6. I don't know. But still, again, shows that she is aware of the main 6, that she's interested in the main 6, and possibly indicates that other ponies are interested in the main 6. As they say in the show, you've saved like Equestria like a dozen times. How could they not be like written into like the history of Equestria? They're just too important to not be. I just thought that was just something interesting to note. But yeah, it's like, yeah, we used to have magic, but we don't anymore. Oh, it just went poof. Wow. Which explains why these unicorns are sad. I don't know which is sadder, that these unicorns are just sad or that they're sad while at a playground. This one pony's going down the slide and is like, I don't even care. Oh. These unicorns are so sad they just don't care anymore, and oh, it's just so depressing. Magic is so fundamental to unicorns, even the young ones, to all of a sudden to have it just go poof would be devastating. That would be like, I can't use my left arm anymore. So your first response is, yeah, to be depressed and sad like this. It's an interesting question of when did this happen and why? Again, two things we're gonna find out in the movie, but I can't help but comment on them slightly here. That yeah, I think that these images indicate that this happened fairly recently, and this might also explain why is Izzy here now? Let's say that they were friends a long time ago, and you know, now that she's all grown up, she can basically say, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna go and be with my friend. Why has she decided now to meet her friend? It's like, well, we've lost all our magic, and, you know, maybe I thought that you could help me, or I just want to come and talk to you about this. It's like, I really need a friend right now. So, but, we shall see. Oh, these pictures make me so sad. I have to go to the next one. Yay! And so now after all that sad, it's like a happy picture. Well, happier anyway. A happier picture of Sunny and Izzy together. And a good picture of Sunny's cutie mark. I like it. It's actually kind of odd when I think about it, considering that her name is Sunny. You would think that this would involve, you know, a sun of some sort, but instead it's just sort of like this sort of like purple star thing. Again, very reminiscent of Starlight Glimmers. So, I wouldn't be surprised if she was like her granddaughter or something. I just like this picture. It was nice, and it was cool to finally get a good look at her cutie mark. Oh yeah, another thing to note about Izzy is that her horn, it's white, which I think is basically symbolic of the fact that she's lost her magic, that the magic that was in the horn is no longer there, and that's why it's turned all white. And good news is the fact that the ponies still have cutie marks indicates that there's still some magic in this universe, because it's kind of been established in a few episodes where if a pony's magic is like completely drained out of them, that the cutie mark goes away. So there's still some magic left in Equestria, so there is hope yet. Roar! Now this is definitely a very interesting image, because I think this basically reveals the 3 locations that we're going to go to, which is, yeah, we're in, so yeah, the first picture is obviously Maritime Bay. I love, again, the pony puns are back. It's like, oh, there's her lighthouse, and showing, you know, where we're going to have to go. It's like Zephyr Heights. I can't imagine there's anything to do with Zephyr from My Little Pony, but oh dear, it's like, I'm sure if I research the name Zephyr, I'm sure there's a reason why, but I don't know what it is, so. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, the Pegasus City. Then there's this other place called Bridal Forest. Again, another pony pun. As we see in future shots, that's where all the unicorns have gone. That's an interesting question in itself. It's like, why have the unicorns basically all gone to this forest? Why are they not in, like, Canterlot? I mean, that's the other interesting thing here, is that, you know, none of the previous locations are present in this trailer, which in some ways is good, in some ways is bad. I mean, but again, more on that perhaps later. And then there's kind of like this circle thing with like question marks on it. I don't know what that is. Just manually zoomed in on this a lot, and it makes even less sense to me now than it did before. Is those constellations or code or something? I don't know, but we'll probably find out. I mean, I kind of like this image because, yeah, it's like now leaving Maritime Bay. It's like, it's just so great to have the pony puns back. This is the beginning of an epic journey that will lead our ponies through many lands. It's a good thing that they're ponies and they can run really fast. They're kind of built for this sort of thing. I don't know what this thing with the balloons is, but it's kind of interesting. We'll probably learn more about this, but it definitely seems odd to me. It's probably there for a reason, but I don't really know what it is right now. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, yo, So yes, our heroes must journey through flowers and the night and a forest to get to the Pegasus City. Again, it's just a good thing that they're ponies. They're built for this sort of thing. And the first time that we encounter a Pegasus is probably the same time they encountered a Pegasus, because they go, ah! Aww. Unfortunately, I like this picture. They're just like, ah! Anyway, more back to Zip. It's like, ooh. I personally like this picture because it's just kind of cool. It's like, we really get to see the Pegasi's feathers, and it's definitely how they've changed. In My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, usually their wings are basically just one color. I don't think I recall any of the ponies having like wingtip colors, but that was actually a pretty cool move. I really like it. It looks really good. So, roar! And I really like these colors. They work really well. So, roar! And she looks awesome in this pose. Unfortunately, perhaps a little bit too awesome for our poor heroes. What? A unicorn and a Nerf pony? Well, this day just got a lot more interesting. Again, I like her. So now getting back on track, this screenshot is very telling. It doesn't seem that way, but this indicates one thing to me: technology. And a lot of it, which also indicates to me a lot of time has passed between the ending of Friendship is Magic and now. You know, maybe on the order of like 2 generations worth. We have like television screens, TV cameras, and if you look at that purple screen on the right, that clearly is a pony holding a smartphone. So that's a huge level of increase in technology. It's honestly been debatable of the level of technology in Equestria, because it's not really very well stated. You know, like you go to Ponyville and you might think this is like a medieval town. It even has the castle in the background. But you go to places like Las Pegasus and there's, you know, PA systems, you know, arcade games, electronics. So it's difficult. I think the long story short, without making this a big long thing, is I would put like the original show in around maybe like 1900-ish. Technology is really starting to develop, and industrialization and all those sorts of things. It's the presence of the smartphone really says that, you know, things have progressed to almost like our level of technology, because, you know, to make a smartphone definitely takes a high degree of technology. You can't make a smartphone with valves and the old electronic components that existed in like the early radios. This has to use like silicon chips and stuff like that, so that indicates a lot of technology. So yeah, so I think the long story short is, to me, this indicates that it's been a long time between the ending of Friendship is Magic and now, and I think that basically means that the main 6 and probably most of the characters from the original show are probably long gone. But again, you know, that may be a good thing, you know. Again, I'll be talking about that more later. But yeah, but moving beyond that, it's like, this is a pretty impressive city. And I do like they're trying to play on things, like there's that sign that says Pony. It's supposed to be Sony, so I don't know what they're selling. It's just Pony. Don't you think that's a little vague? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's a nice place. It's an interesting question. Is this city, like, really in the clouds, or is it just on, like, the top of this mountain? I think it's probably just on the top of this mountain, because I think that from the animation perspective, the idea of having a city in the clouds or being made out of clouds is terrifying for the animators, and it's like, don't do that, it'll take, like, a year to render. But anyway, it's really nice here. I like it, so yo. This is just a fun little sequence. It's like, we're gonna need glitter. Lots of glitter. For the reason why, it's like, I love this picture of Izzy. This is no time for fruity drinks. We're not on a vacation. We're on an important mission here. I do find the tennis ball at her horn just like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. That I think the reason why is to protect the poor, I guess, makeover pony from getting her eye poked out. I hate makeovers. It's like, poor guy. It's like, yeah, I don't know why they're having to put makeup all over his face like that, but yeah, I think that, yeah, during this whole makeover scene, is like, I think the reason why is because, yeah, they have to disguise themselves as unicorns, because their next destination is Bridalwood, where the unicorns apparently are. I honestly am pleased that they added a stallion character to what is basically a cast of a girl show. Obviously, the Brony community's out there, and I think it's just a good thing. But it also means that they're going to be able to do stuff like this. Like, all the girls are going to be like, makeovers! Yay! And the guy's going to be like, oh, do I have to? So yeah, the girls are going to be able to poke fun at the guys a little bit. I kind of like that. And yes, gorgeous! So yeah, so this is the first time we get to see Pip, and we also get to see a good look of Izzy's cutie mark, which is kind of odd. It's sort of like a heart with some buttons and some pins? Is this like sewing related stuff? Which is kind of odd, because there appears to be almost a no clothes rule here. Again, I think it's an animation thing. It's like these ponies have lots of hair and there's a lot of them, and it's like our poor computers are begging for mercy. Please don't make us do cloth simulation too. And not to mention, it just seems odd in a show where, you know, ponies are running around, you know, basically without clothes. To have suddenly have ponies with clothes, it's either they have to wear clothes or they don't, I guess. But anyway, moving back to Pip, this is the first shot we get to see of Pip here, and it's not a very good one, to be honest, especially of her wings. It's like, I actually really like her wings because they're all like fuzzy and fluffy, and so yes, it's the main five together at last, and in disguise. Like at first, like, oh look, it's a picture of the main five. Not entirely accurate because they're all wearing fake unicorn horns, except of Izzy, of course, because she has a real one. I just like this picture because yeah, it's one of the first pictures of them all together. Again, yeah, they're in disguise. It is kind of interesting, their horns, you know, the way they've decided to do them. Pip has like a gold one. I kind of like that. It's like, yeah, she is definitely the pink pony princess that Hasbro loves to continually perpetuate. So. Zips is kind of like almost like a swirl of like her two colors, because it kind of makes sense because that's the way her hair is. And Hitches is all green. Yeah, the two Pegasus are having to wear, you know, like these cloaks. They have to, because if the other unicorns see their wings, they're gonna freak out just like the Earth ponies did. So we don't want to do that. So anyway, moving on. I did like this scene. It's like, big talk for a little pony. I think you'll find I'm average height. You tell him, Sonny. Oh, I like that. And we got a good look at her unicorn horn. It's rainbow colors with white stripes. Okay. You know things are bad when the fate of Equestria rests on a dancing competition. And it's not even a dancing competition. It's one of these, you know, dance-off game things. So this is sort of an interesting picture in itself, because yeah, it's like, first off, that guy that we were just talking to, he's actually on the top of this machine, but he looks a little bit younger. Maybe he's like the previous champion of this game. I've been waiting for a worthy challenger, but I never find any pony. I kind of like these like gems, particularly this thing that looks like it's almost made out of like jade. It almost looks like it's a necklace of some sort. I feel like there's something to this, but maybe not. We'll find out. Anyway, moving on. I love this picture because it really shows the two ways that you play this particular game. The guy is like, he's like focused and like, okay, I'm gonna hit the next note. And Sunny's just dancing. She's just having fun. I love it. I'm sure that this is important in some way, and Sunny is still having fun with that. I like that. That's just great. Anyway, let's move on. Yay, ponies dancing. I just love this picture because it's like, yay, musical numbers and ponies dancing, and I love to see ponies be happy. And a not bad picture of Pip. I kind of like it, so yo. Oh, she's got golden hooves. Yo, I wonder if that's natural. Probably not, but anyway, moving on. Yeah, so yeah, I think that indicates, yeah, definitely musical numbers. Of course, it's My Little Pony, but I think this scene is definitely from some kind of musical number, because otherwise I don't see how this possibly makes any sense. I do like how Hitch is like, wait, uh-oh. It's like, wait, how did I get here? Yeah, Hitch is either uh-oh or how did I get here? Or maybe both. And I do love the ropes holding up the rainbows and the clouds. This is totally supposed to be some kind of set. Whether it is or not, I'm not sure, but I like it, so roar! And it was also a good picture of them, and I think in this one we do get to see how, you know, fluffy Pip's wings are, and I like that, so yo. Now moving on to the last few screenshots of this thing, it's like, these, yay, you're our hero, thank you! These rabbits look so weird. They kind of look like rabbits that have been turned into tribbles. Oh! Why, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do love that little scene with Hitch. Maybe this is the beginning of how, you know, Hitch somehow ends up with Sunny and Izzy, that maybe he's starting to follow them, because he kind of looks like he's on, like, that mountain trail path thing that they were on. I think that mostly it's like it reveals that in some ways has humility problems, but at the same time is also gracious. It's like, oh, wait, thank you. I think he's gonna grow a lot during the course of the show, so roar. But now on to the My Little Pony logo. Roar. Interesting if this is going to be the logo of, like, the series or just this movie. It's like an interesting question in itself. Is My Little Pony A New Generation? Is that, like, the title of this series or simply this movie? Perhaps a little of both, but we shall see about that. But yeah, I kind of like it. From a graphic artist standpoint, I think this is terrifying because it's rainbow colored with sparkles. Oh, the horror. But it looks really nice. I like it. I think the long story short is I think Hasbro is trying to stay away from, like, pink, which are obviously identified as girl-only colors, and they're trying to include more, you know, rainbow colors and, like, purple. Like, Friendship is Magic started off with, like, pink, and then it started to move to more, like, purple. Anyway, but regardless, I think it looks really nice, and I like it. So, roar! And now the last few screenshots. No photos! Okay, just one photo. Yeah, the Royal Guard! Roar! Sort of. I don't think these are royal guards. These are more like the Pegasus Guard. In Hearthswarming Eve, we learned that the Pegasi were quote-unquote military in nature, and that their helmets look a lot like theirs. This could mean that the Royal Guard are no more. So as somebody who has an OC in the Royal Guard, this makes me happy and sad at the same time. It means that the Pegasi have basically formed their own guards, and that the Royal Guard may be no more. Is the more immediate question with this is, who is this and why are they guarding her? Going back to this screenshot, this necklace thing, it's kind of reminiscent of that jewel that was in Celestia's, like, necklace thing. Could this indicate that she's, like, the leader of the Pegasi, or maybe, like, the mayor of this city? Maybe. It would kind of explain why these two guards are basically guarding her. This could just be a, you know, VIP pony. Maybe she's, like, some famous, like, actress or, you know, movie star or something. Oh, we have to protect her to make sure, like, the crazy fan ponies don't get her or something. I feel like that's kind of silly, but then again, it's happened before. I mean, the fact that she's in this pose, like, that seems to be, like, movie star. It's like, okay, do the movie star pose. My first thought is, yeah, this is, like, the mayor of the city, but, you know, then again, I'm thinking, let's see, red carpet, you know, velvet ropes. This is probably some big movie star, so... but we'll find out. It is kind of interesting that they decided to insert this at the very end of this trailer. In some ways, it's like, it must be significant in some way. Or maybe it's just funny, I don't know. This is reviewing, again, technology. This is a televised newscast. So that means a huge increase in the level of technology, which again indicates to me that a lot of time has passed between Friendship is Magic and now. Which also explains why things are so different. So... but anyway, I did like this last bit. It was just funny. I liked it. And it does confirm to me that something like the Royal Guard is still out there. So, roar! Yay, I won't be unemployed. So that was my analysis of the My Little Pony trailer. And I'm hoping that you're still with me because I'm sure even edited this video is still going to be really long. I think I could do an entire video on the state of Equestria, how things have changed from, you know, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and now, but I'm gonna take a quick crack at it now and try to keep this relatively short, but I know I'm gonna fail, but I'm still gonna try anyway. But yeah, I think the long story short is, a long time has passed, the main six, and probably most of the characters in the original show, are probably long gone. And whatever has happened in Equestria that's caused the three tribes to no longer be friends was pretty bad. It didn't happen overnight. But there was a point where it's like, sorry, we can't be friends anymore. And all the three tribes basically just kept to themselves because for some reason they're just scared of each other. And the princesses are no longer quote unquote in play. I feel bad for the princesses. It's like, where do they fit in all this? I mean, it's like they're a combination of all three ponies. In theory, all three tribes are scared of the princesses. Other ponies are afraid of the alicorns probably the most, so they probably had to maybe even, you know, go into exile and leave Equestria altogether. So yeah, because otherwise, where are they? Why aren't they trying to help? Because they probably can't. They're just, you know, like maybe what, 3 or 4 ponies at the most, and they, whatever's happened, I don't think even they could fix whatever's happened on their own. So unfortunately, going to the Royal Guard, when the princesses were basically quote unquote no longer in play, that probably meant the end of the Royal Guard too. The Royal Guard exists primarily to protect the princesses, and now that the princesses have either, gone into hiding or, fled Equestria, it's like, now what? So yeah, at some point the Royal Guard probably disbanded. Maybe, they became like Hitch. It's like, okay, we'll go be police officers or something, but... oh dear. But yeah, definitely, long story short, bad times in Equestria, so... However, there is good news. Obviously, the main five are going to come together and somehow turn this around. And I think, looking at Sunny a little bit more and the fact that she has this bag with Twilight Sparkle's cutie mark and those buttons really indicates to me that she's interested and aware of the main six. And what I kind of hope happens is that, some of those lessons that, the main six taught will somehow be transferred, maybe through Sunny, so that Friendship is Magic in some ways was not in vain. After the events of Friendship is Magic, we were all friends. And now, between now and here, something as horrible has happened, and now not only are we no longer friends with, the creatures in and around Equestria, the three tribes are no longer friends either. Perhaps, through Sunny, look, the main six, they were all friends, they went out and saved Equestria, we can do the same thing too, so I think that's a good way to basically keep the quote-unquote main six's legacy alive without necessarily tying the original show, because that's the dilemma that, they're in. I think that, yeah, that they're trying to quote-unquote distance themselves from the original show, and that, we're not going to be like, oh, what happened in this episode or that episode or this episode. It's like, I think they're going to try to, if you've never seen My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, you're still going to enjoy this. Which is what they should do, because that's the whole point of doing this. This is supposed to be literally a new generation. We're not trying to keep the old show going, we're trying to start a new generation with new fans. That's why the old show basically had to end where it was. It was getting too big for its own good. So now we have to basically, okay, we got to start a new show, but if we're tied to the old one, and we're basically just constantly referring to episodes or things that the old characters have done, the new fans are going to get lost and disinterested. And love that scene, and I forget the episode where Garrus is like, I don't know everything about what the main six have done like you have. That's so the new fans venting against the old fans who know everything about the main six. So I'm glad that they're definitely inserting the main six into the show, but at the same time allowing these characters to be their own characters. And that this is about their adventures, not just the main sixes. I mean, yeah, maybe they'll learn things that the main six learned through, the Journal of Friendship that might be in Sunny's bag, or through Sunny herself. And even just the sheer fact of, hey, the main six were very different. If you looked at them, you'd never think that they'd be friends. Not only were they friends, they saved Equestria a dozen times. We can do the same thing. So, roar! Overall, this trailer kind of makes me sad, because things in Equestria are clearly really bad. But at the same time, things aren't hopeless. Things are going to be good. Obviously, the main five are somehow going to turn this around and reunite Equestria. So, roar! And it's always great to see friends and a good team come together. So, roar! And again, I am kind of happy that they decided to insert one stallion character into this cast. But clearly, it's still going to be a girls' show, and they're going to poke fun at the guys a lot. Which I think at some point I might like. Because I could definitely feel that way. It's like, oh, do I have to get this makeover? Yes, you do. Oh, alright, but I won't like it. It's going to be different. It's going to take some getting used to. But overall, I think I'm going to like this show. And I'm going to like this cast. And I think it's going to be good. I'm definitely looking forward to reacting to this in the future. So, roar! So, if you've made it this far, I thank you. And if you haven't made it this far, I'm sorry, but there was a lot in this trailer, because a lot of things have clearly changed in Equestria, and there was just so much to look at and talk about. And every time I watch this, there's even more. So but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. And until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.